Hello again, YouTube. This is the Truth Man giving you the truth. And we're going to talk a little bit about race today. Of course, we're going to get into the usual topics. And we talk about everything over here. So, on this video, I want to talk about excuses black men can use but shouldn't use. Excuses we can use, but we shouldn't use. So, this is kind of going off of the debate that Dr.Umar Johnson had with FBI agent Cynthia G. I think she is. I don't know. I'm just saying. That's just a nickname I'm giving her. But we're going to talk about it. So, we shouldn't use any excuses. We should fight through all the obstacles, hop over the hurdles. But let's be honest. We really have things that if a person was going to make excuses, there are no excuses per se, but there are things that stand in your way that you need to hop over. So if a person were to make excuses, these would be some of them that I'm talking about on this video. Number one, poverty in their families. See, no matter what we say, here's the fact. The facts are that our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents are required to leave a legacy. And if they don't, they are putting their grandkids, kids, kind of behind, if you will. Yeah, we got to do things ourselves, but I tell y'all all these things, like when I was driving Lyft in Texas, I picked up a corporate executive. He was a friendly guy. He was talking. He's from Austin, Texas. And he already had money. And he told me, I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do with all this money my father left me. It's a lot of money. And I'm like, see, that's the difference with them. And then I talk to Indians all the time here in Milwaukee. They have excellent work ethic. They work as a team. They even, if they have a person from their village that's trying to come to the United States, a lot of times they will help them in every way possible, every way imaginable. Like, that's just what they do. And that's how you pass up black people. When our financial problems hit us and we lose our life insurance, we're supposed to get some more right away. Because you never know what could happen out here. You never know what could happen out here. Should nobody with kids and nobody with grandkids be dying and not leaving their descendants money, cars, property, whatever? That's just you. See, people try to make excuses for not doing it. There's no excuse for not doing it. You just don't care. You just being a nigga. That's all it is. You being ignorant. So, that's the first thing. That a lot of times people die and don't leave kids money. Next to health, or next to the Most High and health, the next thing people need to function properly in this world is money. And I told my kids that sometimes people be homeless because of their own decisions, but it's also bad things that happen to them in their lives. Like, case in point, not leaving no life insurance. What if, okay, let's just play devil's advocate. What if you die, your kids are grown, they working, but their company closes down? If you leave them life insurance, then at least if their company closes down, they have something to live off of. I'm against any black person, young and old, that you kick your kids out at 18, which is another thing. Another thing. I don't care. I don't agree with no YouTuber on here. You just being a nigga, man. You should not put your kids out and send your kids to the dogs at 18. You shouldn't. If you ain't giving them like a trust, why would you put them out at 18? That don't make no sense. What are you accomplishing? You ain't accomplishing nothing. You just slowing them down. The Indians don't do that. You don't see a lot of Latinos doing that. You know who do that? Niggas. Stop talking about politics and start handling your business right. You can't blame Trump. You been a nigga before Trump came in office. You've been ignorant before Trump. You can't blame Trump for your ignorance, your personal ignorance, your not loving your kids right. At least you gotta leave them something. I don't care if you're putting change in a jar and giving it to them. There's no way you should be putting your wing ding in somebody, causing birth, and not helping them. You ain't gangster, you's a punk. Oh, I'll shoot you, I'll do. That you still a punk. Shooting people don't make you not a punk. What you do makes you a punk. You can shoot the whole world. If you doing punk things, you're a punk. That's all it is to it. You can walk around sagging your pants, put diamonds all in your teeth, or whatever else you gonna do. You a punk, you a punk. That's all it is to it. You supposed to be at the top of the food chain, human. You doing what the animals do. You breed and then you speed off. So that's another thing, putting your kids out at 18. Now, only way I can see it is if they just don't listen to you and try to take over your house. Then you be like, all right, get out then. You don't take that off of them. But if they not doing that, don't put them out. My kids are good kids. I like to see them be able to just accumulate their money. And you know, they can live with me. I mean, my kids are fun to be around. You're not teaching it. Shut up, nigga. You ignorant. You like a clown in a circus. So that's another thing. Next, we have, if they go to college, we have to find a way to where money isn't the issue with them being in college. See, my grades were good enough to stay in college, but I didn't have the money to stay in college. So I hopped on some grimy stuff and said, well, forget college. I'm gonna make it happen on my own. Being dumb, young and dumb. So if your kids are in college, then you need to find a way to keep them there. What do? Y'all be going to these little, what they call them, grown and sexy spots. You buying outfits. How much all them outfits you bought cost? How much you pay a month on your car? See, when your kids start going to college, you got to start factoring in, what are you doing that contradicts and causes the money to go out where it's not going to be there to keep them in college? If you want to keep doing that stuff and buying that stuff, then you have to. Why are these dudes like practically blocking my driveway? You want to do that stuff, you have to practically. If your job don't pay enough, then you might have to take on some extra employment. So that's another thing when your kids have to drop out of college. So next, we have the women. Now, this is kind of your fault, but this can be blamed. Like, you really should be on birth control, but when these pookies get them pregnant, that's an excuse that women literally could make. That's kind of their fault, kind of not. That is kind of 50-50. Because these dudes be knowing they ain't got nothing going, but yet they get them pregnant. You know, so that's a slightly, this is barely on the list. But that's an excuse that they can make, you know, because there has been some cases where the Supreme guy, his contraceptive didn't work. There has been some cases. There has. So next we have business loans going more so to other races. This is where one of the points that Dr. Umar Johnson made that destroyed Cynthia G's argument. They literally proved it with that one test where the black man had a master's degree, no criminal record. The white guys had criminal records, and they was calling them back first for those jobs. So unfairness can be used as an excuse. It shouldn't be used. You got to fight through it. You should see them as ops. Anybody just trying to hold you down, that should make you think about it. If you in a fight, somebody holding you down, you going to let them hold you down? What you going to do? You going to fight your way off the ground. So we could use that as an excuse, but we shouldn't. We shouldn't. So unfairness definitely on the list with business loans, with the jobs. What about I remember when I was working at the detention center, some of the kids was coming back. And I believe some of them, I did. And they were like, man, I filled out plenty of applications. None of them called me back. Sometimes I'll be like, where you apply? And they start naming these places, and I think it's all white people in there. It's all white people in there, and I know because I do DoorDash. I applied for Panera Bread and Brookfield. It's all white people in there. So, unfairness with business loans and jobs. It's another thing. Well, we'll stop with these excuses. I just wanted to put it out there because don't try to act like there's no obstacles. There are. We just have to hop over. We have to strive to beat the obstacles and the obstacle people, which we call ops. Anyway, this is the Truth Man. The channel is no matrix, no simping. All subjects channel, no matrix, no letting people use your color against you. Learn how to manage money, fight to get your money, and then when you start having families and stuff, start putting up for them. Putting up for them. Create businesses that you can leave with them. Thanks for watching.